It was just a week ago that I potted up the tomatoes from the 1-inch trays to the red cups. I expected they would live under lights for a little longer, but the garden has its own designs, and now it's time to harden off. Welcome to PDX Garden Home, where I share what's going on in my driveway garden here in the maritime climate of the Pacific Northwest.
Well, it is hitting a warm spell here in Portland, Oregon. The temps have turned radically on me here. We are now heading into daytime temperatures for the next week in the 70s to 80s. I think there's even a day projected that's going to hit 90. The nighttime temperatures are still kind of the primary thing you want to look at, and the nighttime temperatures are above 50, so that is in the safe zone to kind of get most everything out. I think for me, ideally, the tomatoes and the peppers and the eggplants would probably prefer above 55, but above 50 should be good enough to get them out. And I've seen some other local gardeners actually putting their tomatoes in the ground or hardening them off already, so in the last week. So, and I don't blame them. I think that they've got the timing right on, and maybe I'm even now falling behind a couple of days or a few days because I just wasn't paying attention. I knew it was getting warmer, but it kind of snuck up on me, and I was looking at the weather last night and I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. Wow, it's time. So these are the some of the marigolds, some of the Cracker Jack marigolds, and the large white marigolds. Got some cosmos here, and you know what I just realized I forgot is putting these out here like this. I need to put them in outdoor trays, not just leave them in these trays, because I'm not expecting a rain, but even as I come through in water, I want the water to go through. I don't want the water to like just sit in the bottom of these things outdoors. So I'm gonna go grab a bunch of my outdoor trays for this purpose. I have grabbed a stack of outdoor trays. I didn't count them. Not sure if this is enough or too many, but we'll see as we go here. I'm actually going to do this over here. It's easier. I can reach. So just a quick change-a-roo. This might be an opportunity to consolidate some trays too. If I find that I've got half trays, I can get them into one to save space because I've only got so much of this hardening off space available. These are the 4 o'clocks and the straw flowers. Some of the straw flowers anyway. You know, one of the reasons that I created this area was for hardening off seedlings, and it's because it's right outside my garage and I've got right next to my water source. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the efficiency and the fun of using this space. But as always, it'll never be enough space. I'm just eyeballing it now, and it's like, well, I won't have enough spots in the sun probably. So I'll have to deal with that. These are asters, and you can tell from the kind of very light green, greenish yellow coloring, they're struggling a bit, this group of asters. I'm not exactly sure why. I've fed them the same. Yeah, and they've got some brown on the tips. Maybe they're actually overwatered. I'm not really sure what I've done to these guys here. They were planted mid-March. Now, asters are the ones that are kind of on the border. They do tend to like it a little more heat. So, yeah, it's kind of on the border. Put them out here, but I think they'll survive just fine. A lot of these pots, a lot of these plants actually need to be or should be also potted up. So I'm getting them out here to start with, and then I'll be engaged in the project to pot them up. Let's check out the aster, for example. So you can see the aster here. It's got the roots all the way to the bottom here. So this is ready to be potted up. I mean, if I was if the conditions were right and I knew exactly where I was going to put it in the garden, it would also be a candidate for just straight putting into the garden bed, but I'm actually not sure exactly where I want these to be yet. And that's true across with everything, my marigolds, my cosmos, all that sort of thing. So I think, well, this is what I say every year. I think I'll pot up first and then I will put out. But what happens is I run out of time. I don't get them potted up. They're totally ready to go and it's time to just put them in my bed. So a lot of times I do just take them straight from the 6 cell trays into the beds because I just never got around to potting them up. So these are also asters, and you can see that they are faring much better. They've got kind of the green leaves that I would expect. They still do have some of the brown spots on there, which again could be watering or it could be damage from the lights. Maybe that they just weren't appreciating how close the lights were. Not sure, but that kind of thing should all just correct as they get acclimated to the outside here. One of the things that I sometimes do when I start to consolidate space is I'll come in and, some of these trays, the germination was sketchy. So, 3 of the cells are used and the other 3 aren't. And so I'll actually consolidate within the 6 cells. I'm not going to do that this morning, but I'll wait and see if I need to in order to create more space. That will be one of the tricks. Well, these are some cosmos and some delphiniums, and as you can see, the cosmos are even getting ready to flower here, which is one of the signs that I am behind in potting these up. Usually cosmos I don't put out too quickly in the garden, but I might. Again, I might pot these up. I might just put them straight as is into the garden beds, depending on how I'm thinking about where I'm going to put things and what my space looks like. These are definitely ready to pot up. I'm behind. Behind on the cosmos. Well, these are the French marigolds, and I'm liking them. They're looking nice and vibrant and good, and I was debating in my head, do I pot these up or not? I've never potted these up before putting them out because usually I'm ready to just put them out from the 6 cell trays. But these are destined to go around the tomatoes, at least that's my thought. And since I'm not ready to put the tomatoes in the ground yet, I don't think I'd put these in the ground yet. So depending on time, I might pot these up to let them keep kind of growing unchecked for a little while before I get them in the ground. But that depending on time is a big thing because I've been saying that I'm going to pot up all this stuff and that takes a lot of time. And the reality is I probably won't have time to do half of what I keep saying I'm going to do. But it's a theory. So let's take this as this is what I might do in theory, but not necessarily what I absolutely will do. And you will see in future videos what happens. I've already put this in an outdoor tray. Okay, these are more asters and straw flowers. So they're looking the smaller, but these asters are looking good compared to the others. They don't have any of the damage yet. They haven't gotten to the point where they're like, you're doing something wrong to me. So I'm getting them outside and hopefully that will save them from going through that stage of me doing something wrong to them. So many straw flowers. And I already have them overwintered too. These are the petunias and the saplogosis. I'm going to go ahead and put them out here. I was just thinking that one of the ways I might kind of split the difference with my question about what I should put out and not put out is maybe putting some things out during the day and then bringing them into the garage at night. A little extra work for me, but if I'm just doing that with some of the trays, that is probably very doable. And this might be a candidate for that. Petunias and saplogosis do like their warmth. I'm curious, I mean, the petunias don't look that big, but I'm curious if I'm actually already, I think I am. Look at this. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, I'm kind of, these are ready to pot up. So that would be a task on hand. These are the Nicotiana. See, these are nice and big here. Looks like they might actually need some water in there. So yeah, I'm gonna put these out. I'm curious with this, what the root system in there looks like. Ooh, we're close to the bottom. Yeah, it can saying, put me out or pop me up. Those things grew pretty, I mean, it took a while because they needed the warmer weather, but now they've just taken off. I've already run out of space and I haven't even put out the tomatoes yet. Now, I'm not putting stuff in this space here because the sun, this is south facing here. So the sun is kind of come over this way. And when it gets to like the hottest part of the day or it's heating it, that's too much sun for these folks that have just been under lights. They'll get sunburned, they'll just get really stressed out. So I need the space over here because I need to move these into the shade during that part of the day, especially if we're going to hit a 90-degree day. That will definitely be the case. And so I'm going to have to think about, okay, where am I putting my tomatoes out here? And that also just gets to the point that some of these things do need to either get potted up, put into the ground, or get out of the way kind of thing, because I'm going to have more stuff. Either that or I just need to get done with my wall over here. If I put some caps on the wall over here, if I put the cap pieces on that wall where the rock is over there, then I'll be able to use that space to put more stuff out. So that's probably what I'll do next, is I'll put some more caps on the wall. That'll give me some space there that I can do things with, but still not enough. I'll need even more space than that. Man, that's always the problem, space. Okay, one tomato tray here. Combination of different tomatoes that I have growing. I am going to, and that'll fit right there, and then I will need to pause and create some more space in order to get the rest of my tomatoes out here. This part gets a little precarious because these outdoor trays just aren't as solid or rigid as my indoor trays, and so when I've got these bigger containers in them, I'm always a little bit iffy as to what's going to happen there. You know, and I really should kind of keep these roughly in the in the order they were in, because that's how I know what's what. So that's where I've made my mistakes in the past. That's the pink ox heart, and now we've got some Japanese black truffle. And I had all that space in the Nicotiana pot, so I don't need to like push. I'm always pushing, do I have 5 and 5, and 5, or do I just have 4, 4, and 4? And I'll just do 4, 4, and 4. In other words, I'll do 12 instead of 15 in the tray. It'll be a little easier to deal with. Although it does look like a lot of wasted space, like, oh, I could fit more in there. And now that I say that, I need to fit more in there because of what I was complaining about a minute ago, that I only have so much space. So I can't just easily spread these out like that, or I shouldn't. I need to, you all are probably thinking I'm a bit crazy. It's like, this guy's talking to himself. No, I'm not. I'm talking to you. But just imagine if I didn't have this outlet to be talking to you, then maybe I would be talking to myself. Okay, I've been making space behind me here by putting some caps on the wall over there. And then I just rearranged it because I wanted to put the lighter weight seedling trays over there. These ones that have tomatoes in them will be heavier, and so I wanted to put them where I could pick them up and move them around easier. In this tray here, I've got some tomatillos, or some ground cherries actually. And then, let's see, this is some sweet aperitif, cherry tomato that isn't doing too well, or a not a currant tomato that isn't doing too well. I've got some snapdragons that were planted in here, and you can see that a few survived, a few did not. So I'll just get rid of those so they're not taking up space, and away we will go. I think I'm gonna start by moving these snapdragons over so that they are with the 3 snapdragons. I'm gonna move these over with the Nicotiana that had room in the tray. Okay, and then these 3 guys are to be thrown out. Just leave them out there for now. And then maybe I'll put I think there's room to put the ground cherries over with the Nicotiana as well. So I'll do that. Okay, I think I have room for 1 more in that tray, but I don't. I've got 3 here. I don't want to separate them because then I'd have to label them each differently. So I'm gonna, or each individually, I'd have to provide labels. So I'm just gonna leave those. This guy is not doing well. Whoa, in fact it died. Okay, so I'm going to put that into the discard pile. Now I've got these 3. I'm actually just I'm gonna line these up here as something I can put in with another tray depending on what I see happening in other trays later. Okay, next tray here is the orange Peruche, my favorite. Got one that didn't survive here, so I'm gonna put that over there, and then I'm going to pot this up. Switch trays. I'm not potting this up. I'm switching trays. Wow, I was really stacking them in there before. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's right. There we go. Some Supernova and some remaining orange Peruche, it looks like. The 2 remaining ones of the orange Peruche, I guess they must have been stragglers because and otherwise weak because they didn't survive anyway. So I could just pull those out and then leave the rest of the Supernovas in here. Supernova is a saucing tomato, by the way. So it's like I'm going to have 1 space open in each tray, which may mean that I have to go back and relabel. And one's over there. Okay, so this is the last tray of tomatoes. It's a mix Jersey Devil, which is a saucing tomato, Champagne Bubbles, and Orange Currant, which are both currant tomatoes. So here we go. These stalks may look somewhat weak, but the reality is a lot of these are currant tomatoes, and they typically do look like that when they're young, in my experience. I'm gonna go find some labels or put some labels in these sweet aperitifs, these other 2 here, so that I can tuck them into the empty spots that I have in those trays, and then I will have all my tomatoes out here. Now I have run out of room again because I've got more tomato trays, and looks like I might fit 3 Looks like I've run out of room here because I've run out of space for pepper trays. I have room for 3 pepper trays there, but I've got more than 3. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I'm about 2 spaces shy of what I really need there. So I'll figure that out, but I might be, since I was on the fence as to whether I bring them out or not today at all, I might just leave that be and think about that for later. Make that a later problem to solve. So I said I was going to solve the problem where to put the peppers later, but later has come immediately because I spotted what I want to do. On top of those whiskey barrels, I will stack trays along with the open spot over there, and that'll do. I think I'm gonna have to do a lot of moving things in and out of the garage. So here is my first pepper tray to bring outside. These are shishito peppers here. They're looking good. In fact, they're flowering at the top, so we'll see how bringing them outside affects that. I'm gonna pinch off the flowers while I'm working on this because I'll be taking each pot out individually, give me a chance to really inspect it and think about that point, that process. Okay, so there we go. Got some flowers there. This will be time consuming, won't it? I probably will not do too much of it. I'll do just absolutely what is obvious needs to be done right away. Got a dead one here. This is actually the stevia, and that dead one was the stevia that didn't survive. So I planted, I planted maybe 5 or 6, probably 6. I did a 6-cell tray of stevia. The seeds were really precious. Of those, I had a couple that survived to the point of potting up, and then of what was potted up, I now only have one that survived. And in terms of why they survived, I think it's stevia really likes the warm weather, and I probably overwatered, and it's hard to know exactly what's happening there, but there we go. And then I'm going to drop the stevia in with actually the tomatoes where there's space so that it doesn't get shaded out by these taller and more fuller pepper plants here. Okay, these are the padron peppers, and they're looking good. I'm just going to put them in the outdoor tray. Looks like the padrons are they're not flowering as quickly as the shishitos were, which is good. In terms of optimizing the timing, that is. Anaheim peppers and Jimmy Nardolo peppers. Looking good. That's a good looking tray of peppers there. Oops, I got some flowers over here. I don't want the plants to get stressed trying to produce peppers when they're in these small containers.
It's gonna be hot here in Portland this week. Remember, when you're hardening off your seedlings, to ease them into their new environment. Give them enough water and only partial sun for the first few days. Thanks for gardening with me, and I'll see you in the next one.